It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Welcome to the Brouhaha. Here we are mid-May, and baseball/softball teams across the country are in hot pursuit of championships at every level. Dale, trusting you are well today. In reading this week's edition of your Sideline View, you hit these topics. Anything you want to, talk to us about before we get into our guest tonight about what's going on in baseball, softball, that kind of stuff?
I have no comment.
No comment. Okay, folks. Well, it's been nice having you with us tonight. That was a wrap right there.
Let's make people read it, man.
Okay.
No, we got a lot of good things going on now. Well, of course, baseball's regular season baseball in college is getting down to last week. Ole Miss did something they'd never done in the history of the program. Went down to LSU and won 3 games. They won 2 down there before.
Man, they're cranking up at the right time, aren't they?
Yeah. They can't. If you look back at Mississippi State, they got hot about this time.
Yeah.
And they just kept rolling last year. So it is when you're hot. But Ole Miss had all the bats coming back this year. They just needed pitching. And they've had a JUCO guy come in and do really well, and they had a freshman come in and pitch well. So they've had it good, and of course they got Texas A&M this week, but their RIP has moved up to 38th. That's a strength of schedule. They were 50th last week, and so I think Southern Miss is 22 in the RPI. So that means they're still up there pretty, like in the getting close to 16. But Southern's got their hands full this weekend. Of course, everybody does.
Yeah, it's time of year, isn't it?
poor Mississippi State's got Tennessee this week, and that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're number 1 team in the country, I think. And then Ole Miss has got a good Texas A&M team. They're like number 10. And then Southern's got to go to Middle Tennessee, and I think Middle Tennessee's tied for third. And so they're 3 games back in the Conference USA. So it ought to be an interesting weekend, but we shall see.
We shall see. I want to come back to a little local level right here and talk about one of our schools. We're from Wayne County, of course. We broadcast out of Waynesboro, and there's a local high school team here that's fooling around and fought their way and made their way into the state championship series. Wayne Academy Jaguars are playing. Marshall. How about that? It's not me, of course. It's not. They're not playing me.
Holly Springs.
That's a long ride. I have too.
I've been there one time.
There's an interesting story here to me. Now, this sounds really good to me, and I'm excited about it. I do a lot of business with this young man's uncle. This guy's name's Luke Cooley, and he's a pitcher over there at Wayne Academy. And his first round, they had a bye in the first round of the playoffs. In the second round, they played Canton, and he had 14 strikeouts. It was 7 in a row when they were playing those guys. In the next round, they played Tri-County, and he had 15 strikeouts. And then they played Riverfield, which was the South State series, and he had 17 strikeouts in his outing against them. I don't know. I'm not really nearly up to snuff on baseball, probably like I should be, or like I know that you are. That sounds like an awful lot of strikeouts to me, Dale. That's pretty good, isn't it?
It is. Well, he's I think he's a big left-handed pitcher.
He's a lefty. He's a pretty good sized kid.
Yeah.
So
that helps. Hill Denson one time, the old former USM baseball coach, he told me one time, he said, "You give me a lefty and throw it 72 miles an hour and I'll sign him." So a lefty's got special talents.
Yeah. Why is the left-handed pitcher a big deal, Dale?
I just think the way the ball comes in, and most of them have a little natural curve ball.
Yeah.
Or used to when I played.
Yeah.
We were always, hey, lefty, you got a curve, I mean, that's just the way it was, because a lot of them never really threw hard, but they, had great other pitchers that you weren't used to,
Right.
And so I assume that's it, but I'm really not sure. But left-handers do have a, tendency to get people out, and they don't have to throw as hard.
Well, we might hit some more baseball here in a little bit, but right now we're getting close. It's about time to introduce our guest for tonight. Who you got lined up for us there?
Well, we got reliable Tyler Cleveland from SB Live Sports. Mm-hmm. He's going to fill us in about the baseball playoffs.
Okay.
And And he may even touch on the softball playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to definitely do some baseball.
Well, one thing I know about him, he's going to know what he's talking talking about for sure. But anyway, I believe this is his second visit with us over the past 9 months or so. And as we know, he knows his sports, and we'll get right to that. But first, a word from our sponsor. Then Dale and I will be back with tonight's guest right after the break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
All right, welcome to the show, Tyler Cleveland. How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing well, just trying to stay cool up here, guys.
How do you do that? Tell us your secret.
Stay inside. Also found out yesterday at Northwest Rankin that they have a scout box that's one of those like right behind home plate with the big glass in the front, and that room is apparently air conditioned. So I figured that one out yesterday. That was my trick.
Okay. All right. That's pretty good. My old trick was just going to the local ice house and stepping in there and then coming back out, you know. And,
Yeah, the problem with going in there is you got to come back out.
yeah. That was the problem. Well, listen, let's talk a little now. Where are you heading this week?
I am headed to Hattiesburg. I'm recording the Crooked Letter Sports podcast with my dad tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, and then I'm headed down to Hattiesburg for the MHSAA softball championships there at Southern Miss. Had a lot of fun at that event last year, so looking forward to it again this year. I know we've got a lot of familiar faces that are back, and just really excited to see this Neshoba Central team one more time before they lose a couple of these seniors, because this run they've had over the last 2 years has been pretty incredible. So looking forward to seeing them kind of put a bow on that this weekend.
2 years? I thought it was like 20 years.
It is. But these last two, I mean, they didn't lose one last year, and they've been on a similar roll this year. I mean, they've always been good. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say it's 7 championships in a row now. But, boy, they've just been so dominant these last couple of years. So interesting to see if they can, finish it off.
There you go. All right. Well, what about, let's turn our attention a little bit about high school baseball. We'll start with the biggest class there. Tell us a little bit about the 6A.
Well, like a Sunday afternoon, I got a chance to see Northwest Rankin clinch 6A South on their own home field against, in-county rival Brandon. And, I really thought that series was going to be a lot more competitive than it was. The first game, Northwest Rankin jumped out to a huge lead early and kind of hung on for a 12-7 win. And then the second game I knew it would be closer, and it was, but Northwest Rankin won it 7-6 on a wild pitch in the bottom of the 7th after a runner reached. It was a true baseball play. I got to give him, you hate to see a game end on a wild pitch like that, but the kid did single, steal a base, move over on a bunt, and then, so they put him in position. It was a real baseball play, but they beat Brandon and advanced to the 6A championship for the second year in a row. Still got, some salt in their mouth from losing to Madison Central there at Trustmark Park last season, so they have a lot to prove this year. And the good news for them is that Madison Central team is gone. Most of their players moved on, and then they lost out in I believe the semifinal round in the north half. So they're out. Northwest Rankin is going to get the winner of Oxford and DeSoto Central. And DeSoto Central won game 1. They're playing game 2 tonight on Monday night. So we'll see who they end up with. I think either way they're going to have their hands full with whoever comes out of the north, especially if it is DeSoto Central, because they're a team that they kind of slumped in the middle of the year, to be honest, but they've been dangerous. I have them preseason ranked number 3 for a reason. And they have worked their way back up into the top 5 since then. Just a really, really good ball club with a lot of good players. Good left-handed starter. Their top guy, Bradley Lawson, committed to Mississippi State. So they're going to be a handful for Northwest Rankin. But, the Cougars, like I said, still with that bad taste in their mouth from last year and walking around with T-shirts that say unfinished business. So I think that's going to set up for a really good series no matter who comes out of the North.
Well, tell us, because you're up there in the Jackson area, I mean, they just have loads of baseball talent up there. So, you're talking about, I saw the big left-hander from, I think it's a left-hander from Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, pitcher, but he's a big kid. And he's an Ole Miss.
Yeah, Walker Hooks.
Yeah.
Walker Hooks. He's only a sophomore, guys. He's like 6'5", 240.
Holy.
Heck of a linebacker, too. Yeah, he's a heck of a linebacker on the football team, too. But, yeah, I saw him. He's the one that pitched against Northwest Rankin yesterday, and he pitched really well. He gave up a 5 spot in the second inning. But other than that, he was about unhittable, and they could have let that game get out of hand, but he settled down and kept him in it, and they came back and tied it in the sixth at 6-6. So I'm really impressed with him, and I think I put it in parentheses in the story. I said Brandon starter Walker Hooks, and then in parentheses it said everyone remember that name. Because I think he's the next. I think he's the next kind of JT Ginn kind of kid that's going to come out of Brandon and just kind of blow everybody away. If he continues to get better at the pace he's at right now, he'll be one of the best pitchers in the state. Not 2 years from now, but next year.
How about that? All right, now you get to see a little, they've got some really good private school teams up there around the Jackson area, too. And, I mean, they've got some really good baseball players, too, don't they?
We do. In fact, the finals to set up the North and South Championships in the MAIS was Hartfield and Prep, which are right around the corner from each other, both of them in Flowood. And then the other side was JA and MRA, which are separated by about 15 miles in Jackson and Madison. So, yeah, we had all four of the teams. Now it's going to be Prep and MRA in the championship, and I think it sets up to be another great series. I mean, these two teams, they play each other all year. They should be familiar with each other by now. But, man, Jackson Prep is just absolutely loaded. I think Northwest Rankin is my number one team in the state, but Jackson Prep is right there at number 2. Guys, they have a freshman who is Connor Griffin, who is the number 1 rated player in the entire country for that class. And he has been pitching this season. He's been lights out. He's got a sub-1 ERA starting at the varsity level with, 70 more strikeouts than he has walks. He's just been really impressive, and it's just fun to watch right now.
I saw where he is the son of the very successful softball coach at Belhaven.
He is. That is absolutely accurate. So he gets it honest. He's just got a low 90s fastball for a 15-year-old is pretty impressive. Got breaking pitches that move, although he has not. I was talking with his father, said that he didn't grow up throwing a bunch of breaking balls. They did not want him to wear out his arm at too early an age. So this is his first year that he is throwing breaking balls at the varsity level. And it turns out he's got one, which is bad news for everybody else.
Yes, always good to have that other pitch and everything like that. All right, well, tell us about. Why don't you talk about 2A baseball for a minute? You've seen a lot of 2A baseball this year.
I did. I went out to Pisgah last week, which I got to tell you guys. Every year it seems like I cover a lot of 5A and 6A baseball, football, basketball. When I get out into the state and go to these places like Pisgah High School, I just fall in love with the sports all over again. It's just different in a smaller town. And I went out and watched Pisgah beat Lake in a 10-inning game to get to the South Championship. They are vying for a second trip this would be the semifinal round. They made it this far last year and then lost. So they are looking to get to the state championship this year. And they have got some really good players. They've got Ryder White as part of a lineup that has scored, about 7 runs a game in the postseason. And they're growing something pretty special out there, which is just insane. I mean, we were talking about Brandon and Northwest Rankin, well, Brandon beat Pearl in the South semifinal to get there, and then you've got Pisgah out there. That's 4 teams in Rankin County that were knocking on the door to a state championship this year. It's just been, I don't know what they're putting in the water out there. I wish they'd have given it to me when I was growing up.
Now, what community is Pisgah located in? It's Sand Hill or somewhere?
It is Sand Hill. It is the hometown of Olympic sprinter Tori Bowie, who was at Southern Miss, who won the gold medal in the sprint. She is the school is actually on Tori Bowie Lane, but it's in Sand Hill. It's about 15 miles past Northwest Rankin when you're headed out. If you're going from Jackson to Starkville, it's off Interstate 25, about 15 minutes past Northwest Rankin. It's a growing community. Everything around Jackson has blown up, Madison and Flowood and Brandon. This area is just getting better and better when it comes to baseball. You don't have to go far in either direction from Jackson to find a team that is fully capable of winning a state championship any year.
Wow, that's great. Well, why don't you recap the other divisions?
Well, we got some that have yet to be settled because of the rain, unfortunately. But like I said, in 6A, we're going to have Northwest Rankin against Oxford or DeSoto Central 1. Let's see. Oh. Hey, you guys still there? I almost
Yes,
lost.
sir.
Yeah, we.
Hey, we all the way.
Good deal. In 5A, we still are not set yet. We've got Van Cleve and East Central in the south, and Neshoba Central and Saltillo in the north. Saltillo is vying for a second straight state championship. Neshoba Central stands ready to play spoiler. Boy, they have been really hot lately. Then in the south, we've got Sumrall has defeated Northeast Jones, as you guys know, and they will face either West Lauderdale or Pontotoc, who got their game rained out and have yet to play tonight. Let's see. In 3A, we have got Amory, 1 in the north, defeated Boonville in a very close series. And then we've got Seminary and Clarkdale in the south that have yet to be determined. I believe that series is tied. Let's see. In the 2A, we've got East Union beat Pine Grove in the north. East Union trying to get back to another state championship. And then, like I said, we've got Pisgah and Stringer here, and they've played in their first game actually tonight, Monday night. They got rained out all weekend and then had graduation on Friday, so they've got a game tonight, a game tomorrow, and then a possible game 3 on Thursday, so that's still going. And then down in 1A, as you guys well know, we have got Biggersville coming out of the north, and the 1A South between Ethel and Resurrection is still not completed. Resurrection trying to get back to a state championship for the second year in a row after losing to Tupelo Christian last year.
What's Tyler? This is Dale again. What is can you really choose who you think's the best team that you've seen this year? A complete team, offense, defense, pitching, or
it is really tough. I would have to say at this point in the season, it would be Northwest Rankin. And I'll tell you what puts them over the edge is their ace pitcher, Nick Monaster, who he's been committed to Southern Miss for 2 years, signed with them a couple months ago. But he is probably, the best senior pitcher that I have seen at a public school in Mississippi this year. And he absolutely rakes at the plate. They've got him hitting in the 2-hole right now, but he's batting right around 400 and has, 10 home runs. I mean, he can hit for power. He can hit for average. I think he's going to end up being a 2-way player for Scott Berry down at Southern Miss. He's the one that puts them over the edge. Otherwise, they would be on par with a couple of the other 6A teams that I saw this year, Madison Central, even DeSoto Central. I would say they would be in that class. And then, like I said, Jackson Prep is just an incredible team. They've got probably 4 or 5 pitchers that will eventually pitch at the Division I level in college. So I would put those two kind of right there, 1A and 1B. I also thought Madison Central was really good. I mean, they had a lot left off that team from last year. They lost some pretty big pieces, including the guy who's probably going to be the SEC Freshman of the Year and the guy who's going to be the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. So they had a lot of reloading to do. Did not make it to the North State Championship like I thought they might. But just talent-wise, from a talent perspective, I thought they were pretty good as well.
Okay, I'm going to throw you a curveball, okay? I'm going to see if you can hit it, okay? Tell us your thoughts about, say, the Big Three and Mississippi in college baseball. Just your opinion on how the season's
I'm glad
gone.
you asked. This is like a passion play for me, Dale. I love college baseball. I think that Southern Miss is a lot better with Ross Ewing in the lineup. I was glad to see him come back because they had kind of been struggling at the plate. And I thought those last two games against UTSA, they kind of got back to what we saw over that 15-game winning streak earlier in the season. I think they're a team that's still in the hunt for a national seed and can probably get one if they can win the series this weekend and either win, at least get to the finals of the Conference USA tournament. I think they've got a chance to wrap that up. I think Ole Miss is peaking at the right time, although if they can't keep it going another 3 weeks, it won't be worth anything. But I think they're an incredibly good team. I think they're capable of being the best team in the entire country, especially when Kevin Graham's in the lineup because he gives them that extra bat, and he's a pretty good defender. But I think the effect he has on the lineup, just being his presence in the lineup gives everybody else confidence. And I think if they can get back to hitting like they were a month ago or like they were over the weekend down at LSU, I think they've got a chance to go far in this tournament, maybe even to Omaha. And then Mississippi State, if I'm a Mississippi State fan, I'm just taking this, still kind of coasting off that national championship. I think they just lost too many pieces early in the year and have not been able to replace them. But I think they'll be fine long run because, I do all these recruiting rankings and, top 30 seniors, top 30 juniors, top 30 sophomores in high school baseball in Mississippi. And half the kids that I write about are committed to Mississippi State. I feel like they're going to be just fine. It's just you're just going to have to write this one off and just kind of live on the memory of last summer.
Well, that's a good one to live on, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, for the next, decade, if you really want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I can. Nobody will ever take that away from them. But that's a good thing because they are not going to make the SEC tournament this year. That's what I told my buddy. I said, "Great news, man! The Bulldogs aren't going to go 0-2 at the SEC tournament this year."
Yeah. Well,
they are not going to be there.
Well, we were talking to sports writer in Starkville here a couple of weeks ago, and he was filling us in about Mississippi State, and one thing that he mentioned was that they've never really knew the importance of Tanner Allen and that Rowdy Jordan at the top of the lineup. And
no doubt.
And what they brought to the team.
I mean,
Yeah.
You lost a lot off that team from last year, but then the part of what you thought was coming back, you lost after the season started.
Yeah.
I thought the Landon Sims, the moving him to the starting role, was a risky proposition, and who's to say whether he would have gotten hurt had he still been thrown out of the bullpen in his normal role. But losing him was a huge blow, and they were trying to replace a bunch of really good, consistent players, and it's always iffy if you're going to be able to do it or not. And sometimes it takes 4 guys to replace 2. And if 2 of those guys get hurt, then you're just kind of stuck in a lurch, and I think that's what you've seen this year.
Tyler, this is Marshall, and this is the part that I always get to do. Dale gets to have all the fun, and I get to come in and say, "Hey, we're out of time." somebody's got to man the clock. But anyway, that's my job. Listen, we appreciate you and all that you mean to Mississippi sports. I mean, and what you do, and we thank you for taking time to be with us, Tyler. We appreciate it.
Sure, anytime, guys. I always enjoy it.
Well, you can count on it. We're going to be calling you back. But for now, we're going to take a break and then hear from our sponsors. And Dale and I will be back with you shortly to wrap up tonight's show. See you after the break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back to the Brouhaha, everybody. And I tell you what, old Tyler, he knows his stuff, doesn't he, Dale?
Yeah, he gets around. He's I don't know if Tyler's married or got a girlfriend, but she probably sees a lot of baseball, whatever which one she is,
Yeah, of course, they say the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. He comes from he's got a lot of that sports in his veins.
Well, his daddy told me a story that time. He was talking about going to Pisgah and watching that ball game, small school setting and everything. I mean, his dad tells me he makes sure that he always sees the 1A class state championship in football every year.
Every year, yeah.
Because he said he thinks those kids, because they have to play both ways, and they're on the field. Some of them never come off the field, and he's and half of them don't have a band, and he said they're just playing for school pride.
I enjoy watching those games.
Yeah,
I really do. Don't get to see them with what we do here. We stay kind of busy, but it's good to see them in the state championship. What better venue than to watch them in? Mm-hmm. Speaking of football, how would you like to be come out for practice at Lake Oconee Academy in Greensboro, Georgia, and find out that you got a new? He's kind of a special situation, but he's involved with the football program. He may not be a quote unquote coach, but one Dan Mullins, I understand, has taken a position of some sort with Lake Oconee Academy over there in Georgia. That'd be pretty exciting to see him come around, wouldn't it?
Yeah, especially if he's got a Tim Tebow over there.
Well, they could probably get him there.
There you go.
Let's see what else we got looking at here, Dale. Interesting side, going another direction. Drew Brees, Drew Brees is a big name around here. And,
really?
Yeah, you've heard of him. There's a song Leonard Skinner sang years ago called "They Call Me the Breeze." So maybe they were singing about Drew. I don't know, but anyway, he retired from football. Bless his heart, and he had him a year run in the broadcast booth, but. He was one and done, I believe. I don't believe they're going to bring him back. Are you going to? I say I've been almost to be a year, Dale, that I've been here with you. Am I going to be one and done? Or are you going to bring me back, or what?
Well, now if Drew's available, you on the short list.
Oh well, you might want to call him because anyway.
I couldn't let you go.
I know you love me. I know you do. But anyway, old Drew, I can tell you one thing: he's a winner, and he'll find out somewhere to go and have himself a good time. Anything else? I got notes scattered everywhere, Dale, and I can't even read them anymore. I don't. You got anything? Oh, here's one. Here's one I was thinking about. Let's talk about the Saints. We're talking about Drew Brees. Let's segue into the Saints. I got this headline: New Orleans Saints rookie Chris Olave learning to fly with new teammate Michael Thomas. Now, there's a couple of Ohio State guys. We know Michael Thomas. Olave, a great receiver, first-round pick for the Saints. And now they're together. They're going to be down there in New Orleans. And I read where Jarvis Landry, the LSU star, is making his way back into New Orleans. So that's a done deal, if I'm not mistaken.
So you're going to have two Ohio State guys. LSU guy, and maybe another LSU guy.
Tell us about that. You mentioned that to me before the broadcast.
I saw a deal where Odell Beckman used to play for the Giants and the Browns, played for the Rams last year. Mm-hmm. He's a free agent, and the Saints are one of the three teams he's considering going to.
What kind of receiver would there have ever been a better receiver room than that in history?
Oh, I'm sure there have been.
Yeah, but can you name it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, but it would be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And everything.
So we got people calling in from all around the world that want to talk to us, Dale. It's exciting being a part of the Brouhaha, isn't it?
Okay, I thought that was a bill collector. I'm glad that's for you.
If it's a bill collector, it'd probably be for me. I might need to borrow some money.
Good.
But anyway, you think about that down there. Even with what they got, the two guys from Ohio State, Olave and Thomas, and you throw Landry in the mix, man, if they were to hit Beckham down there, that would be cool. Winston's going to be sitting pretty. Breeze might want to get back into it because he did mention that.
Do you think that Winston would have enough footballs?
Yeah.
He'd have to throw 4 every pass, every down. He'd have to throw 4 balls. I mean, because you got some characters, you know.
Oh man, and they're gonna want
throw
that
me the
football.
ball.
They're gonna want that football.
I've never seen a wide receiver that didn't think they were open. You know, throw me the ball. I'm open.
Well, listen, we've about run out of time tonight, Dale. Again, we appreciate that. Remember, folks, that you can follow us on Facebook, at YouTube. Facebook and YouTube at the Brouhaha, and be sure to tune in again next week, same time, same channel. I've always wanted to say that. I remember wrestling live on Channel 5. Tune in next week, same time, same channel. But anyway, you can do that here for more of the Brouhaha. But for right now, it is time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
And that's a wrap. Take us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.